If you come from a different game, the first thing that you'll notice is that the elite rankings look quite different from the ones hosted on other websites such as speedrun.com, and that can make them pretty intimidating to new players. If you've never been to the elite rankings, www.the-elite.net, and eventually you'll find your way to the rankings. Click here on GoldenEye, and as you can see, here are the GoldenEye world records. GoldenEye uses the in-game timer, which goes to the full second. This means that if someone achieves a world record time and someone else gets the same time, they've tied the world record. If someone were to beat that record by a full second, we call that an untied world record, as they now have a world record that is not tied or beaten by any other player. We also exclusively play on original N64 hardware. Emulator times are not accepted. If you look at the rankings, you'll notice that each level in GoldenEye shows the current world record time, to the full second, of course, and the initials of those that have achieved those times. Once a time has been tied over 50 times, initials are no longer shown, such as here on Runway Agent in 22 seconds. You can see the differences here between tied and untied world records, with Carl Jobs' Damn Agent 52 sporting a solitary KJ and Surface 1 Agent. Here, sporting over 24 pairs of initials. The best part about the elite rankings, in my opinion, is that non-world record times are incentivized. Good times are rewarded with points. A world record is worth 100 points, a second place time 97 points, third place 95 points, and then 1 point less for every place down to a 97th place time, which would be worth 1 point. It's not that simple though, because we haven't accounted for ties yet. When a time is tied, it makes the next slowest time 1 place lower. So, for instance, a world record achieved by 2 people is worth 100 points each. However, 1 second slower than world record is now a third place time, since 2 people have achieved a better time, meaning that it's worth 95 points. Keep in mind, only top 97 place times get points, not top 97 players. So, for instance, 162 people have achieved Damn Agent 53 or better, and all of them have 97 points for that particular run. With the exception of Carl, who of course has the untied 52 worth 100 points. 54 is worth 0 points, since over 97 people have achieved 53 or better. This holds true across every level, although some levels like Aztec 00 and Caverns 00 have a lot more disparity in their point spread. For each of the 20 stages, the top 10 players are shown with their point totals at the top. We call this the leaderboards or leaders. Ties work here as well, with levels such as Streets having more than 10 players on the leaderboards. So why do these points matter? Well, we take your total points across all 60 GoldenEye stages, and if you scroll farther down, we tally them all up to produce your overall ranking. So as you can see, Luke Sklarz is currently GoldenEye champion with a total of 5,758 points out of a possible 6,000. You can scroll down to see more of the rankings. Here's me, Adam Verbsky, at 51st place at the moment, with 3,179 points total. The barrier to the top 100 with Austin Peru at 1,309 points, and so on farther down the rankings. Next to the point ranks are the time ranks, where your total time for all 60 levels is totaled, and if you have any levels where you don't have a time submitted, it counts as a 20-minute time for your time ranks. Many eliters consider time ranks significantly less relevant, as it's possible to have a very high time rank with little to no points. For time rankings, a lower time total is better than a high time total because it means that you've beaten every level faster than your peers have. And then right here at the bottom of the rankings, continuing with the time rankings theme, you can see the overall combined time for the game. This is kind of a community effort to get this as low as possible. It's simply adding all of the world records up for the stages, and then you can see those sectioned off into Agent, Secret Agent, and 00 as well. If you're looking to join the Elite Rankings, just head to the-elite.net and look for a link that says Join. There's several of them if you search for them. Here you'll be able to enter your name and desired alias. The GoldenEye rankings use real names, and Perfect Dark, if you're interested, uses your alias. So on the GoldenEye ranks, for instance, I show up as Adam Verbsky, but on the Perfect Dark ranks, I show up as Madman Fletcher. The website on the whole tends to use your alias, but it is not required if you don't wish to have one. Feel free to add an alias regardless of whether you plan on playing Perfect Dark, and if you have regrets later on and decide you wish to change it, just contact one of the proof mods and they can help you out. Put in your email address and select your country. Your email won't show up on your rankings page unless you add it yourself, but your country will be shown as a nice little flag next to your name on the rankings. Here in the comment box, feel free to include a message to the mods notating what color you would like on the rankings. If you know the hexadecimal of your color of choice, add that in and you should show up correctly once they add you to the ranks. Keep in mind that this is a manual process and it may take some time for them to get back to you and get your account created. If it takes longer than a couple days, try and hop in the Discord and contact someone for further assistance. Chances are they have a backlog of applications and just haven't gotten around to getting them in yet. Once you get accepted, you'll be able to join the ranks. You don't have to have any times yet to join, but if you have some PBs, feel free to add them in when you do. I'm going to give a quick tour of what your page looks like. Here's my profile. You're welcome to put whatever you like in this little blurb here. Feel free to write a short description of yourself. I like to include important benchmark dates, and earlier on, I use this to keep track of my goal times. In your profile settings, you'll be able to edit the aforementioned blurb as well as notate your control style, which we'll cover later. Birth date, which to the public only shows up as your age, and what system that you use. I'll cover the version differences later on, but for now just know that if you live in the Americas, you're most likely using NTSC, Asia, Africa, Australia, or elsewhere, you're most likely using PAL. Very few people use both. You can also show where you live on this map here, but there have been issues with it recently, so it might not be working if you try it. On this page here, you can change your time zone and date setup. Here, you're able to add different contact methods to your profile page. If you have a Twitch and or YouTube, especially, feel free to link them here. There are a handful of other things you can add if you so desire. You can see that here I have my Twitter and forum account linked. Here is what your times page will look like. Here you can see your personal best on every level and how many points each one is worth. If you click on a time, you can see the video and any comments that you chose to add in, as well as your time history for the level. I like to add in my comments how many points a time was worth when I got it. This is obviously not required or anything, just something myself and some other leaders have chosen to do. Here you can compare your times page to that of another player, see how you stack up against them, what levels they're better than you at, what levels you're better than them at. This here shows you how close you are to appearing on any of the individual leaderboards that I showed you earlier. Here is a list of every PB that you post with some different search mechanics to find certain ones. I'm a bit of a unique case as I post every PB I get and include a video with every one. This is not necessary, just something that I personally like to do. We'll look at a couple pages later where it's different. I do this because I like to see my progress as time passes. This shows your LTK times, a playstyle I'll discuss further in part 4, and it's where the enemies kill you in one hit and you kill them in one hit. That's LTK, and then DLTK is where enemies die in the equivalent of 10 headshots, but you die in one hit. This is generally considered a side league, something that most players don't dedicate themselves too seriously to, although some players do find a lot of enjoyment in it. Down here is the achievements list. These mean very little, but they're kind of fun, so take that as you will. Obviously, there's no need to copy me on this. A lot of people do a lot of different things. For instance, here's Ryan Lockwood's page of Streets 112 fame. He's got a short little blurb here. He's got quite a few levels that don't have times submitted. Lockwood also hasn't joined the Perfect Dark ranks. He's got some PBs that don't have vids attached, some with unknown dates. Carl Jobs doesn't even have a blurb. He's obviously got a lot of really good times. He's got tons of achievements because he's been around forever. Graviton, short little blurb, a lot of NAs, but all of his times are extremely good. When you go to post a time, this little menu will pop up. Click on the level that you're posting a time for, select the appropriate difficulty, type in the time, select the right system. It defaults to what you chose on your profile, and feel free to add the YouTube link to your run and any comments that you may have. Make sure that you add the appropriate style of link or the video will not embed properly. Before you post, please double check to make sure that you selected everything correctly so you don't accidentally post a Bunker 2 Agent 19, which would be a 4-second untied world record, as opposed to a Bunker 1 Agent 19, which is not worth any points. Some members of the community get feisty when this happens, so just be sure to double check before you post anything. A couple of things on the website as a whole to take note of. Here we have the homepage, which shows an updated feed of people's submitted times. You can adjust the quality of the times that show up here using these links. There's also a box in the profile settings near the date and time settings, which allow you to adjust this. Under the GoldenEye and Perfect Dark tabs are the rankings that I showed earlier, as well as a handful of other sections, such as this listing of who has the most world records, the system records. This shows the best times achieved on each level on each version of the game. A virtual time machine that allows you to go back in time and view the rankings as they once were. Simply type in the date that you'd like to go back to and see. The small section for single segment runs, the LTK records, as well as the pointless time records. The Rare Ranks tab shows your combination between GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Here under the Community tab, you can find links to join the Discord, as well as links to the forums. Here you can find a list of every player on the rankings. And finally, under the Info tab, you have the proof policy, the staff of the website, and the links to the world record databases, which are in-depth looks at world records through the ages. I highly encourage you to spend some time just looking around the website, seeing all that there is to see. I especially encourage you to read through the proof policy if you have serious aspirations of playing. Here are the forums, where you can sign up for an account and participate in discussion the old-fashioned way. So, a couple things to take note of here. Once you start getting good times, you're going to want to check back here regularly, as every month, times that need to be proof called according to the proof policy are listed in a forum post. You'll want to check this post to make sure your proof is acceptable, as if it isn't, your proof called times will be backrolled and removed until proven. So again, read through the proof policy and make sure you understand what is being asked of you. There's a couple more parts to the forum that I'll cover in part 5. Again, I encourage you to just wander through the forums for a bit and see what all is here. There are a lot of good resources, and it's possible that you found this video series in the first place thanks to these forums. Lastly, there's the Elite Discord. As I was in the process of making these vids, the Elite Discord went through a bit of a remodeling. There is now a portion of the server that is inaccessible to new joins, but it's very easy to get access once you actually start playing. As a new join, you'll have access to the Carrington Institute and off-topic tabs. In the Carrington Institute is the Newbie Network, which is where I suggest you go for most of your quick questions and clarifications. There are also some other channels that will be helpful for you as you're starting out. In the lobby, there is a bot that automatically posts all times worth points that are posted to the ranks, including the attached comments and point value. Many elite streamers and community members, such as myself and Irie Butler, have much smaller but still very active Discords that you can seek out and join, which can serve as additional resources for questions and socializing with the community in a more intimate environment if that's what you prefer. That wraps it up for this vid. In the next vid, I will cover all of the equipment that you need to get started.